Old MySpace. Imagine the things that came out of fucking MySpace, man.
Oh my god, I used to get the weirdest shit on my face.
Well, that's you just segued right into a question we want to ask everybody tonight. Like, what's the creepiest creepo guys that hit you up?
Oh my gosh, I was at work. The first strip club I worked at a fully nude strip club, and this guy used to come in, and he would bring granny panties with him. That's right, granny panties. And they were brand new. He would buy them. He would bring them in for each girl, and he would dance with multiple girls. And he would pay you about $300 per girl to lick your armpit and dance in granny panties.
Oh, no way! Awesome. And how long would the whole thing be? Like one song, 2 songs? I mean, how much?
It would be about probably 15 minutes, 20 minutes at the most. It was kind of creepy. I mean, like dancing these weird flowered granny panties and lick my. I don't know.
Lick your armpit, yeah, like.
I mean, but like I'd be dancing all night and sweat and stuff, and he was like totally into that.
And did he like it like the dirtier the better? Like if you had like BO for whatever reason.
He'd be like, yes, right after you get off stage, I'd be like, hold on, let me go to the bathroom and freshen up. No, come on, right now.
Like the first time he asks you, like what is going through your mind? Like, is there a point where you say, let me ask you, is there something that you would say no to? Yeah.
He didn't really overstep the boundaries as far as licking the armpits and just like dancing. He didn't make me feel more uncomfortable, except for when he was licking my armpit. That was kind of weird.
And hey, was it just like a solid lick, or was it like a dragging cat lick, or was it like fluttering licks? Like what kind of licks?
Was he just getting right in there?
Yeah, was he getting after it or what?
It was like my cat.
Oh.
Like a dry.
Yeah.
You know?
Perfect. For those of you at home that don't know, she just gave us a visual, and that's exactly how I saw it in my head, and I'm just creeped out. That slow, dragging, like savoring lick.
So when I went out there and I was like, okay, well, if I'm going to get told no, I'm not going to tuck my tail between my legs, thanks guys, see you next time and walk away, I'm going to be like adamant about it. I'm going to be able to be myself, a guy who's been told no for 12 years at that point, by major companies. So
for a company that prides itself on its social network relevance, for Bruce Pritchard to ignore 87% of the Impact fan base, well, that's just irresponsible. And it makes me question your contract. But I trust you, Taz. I know you know Joey Ryan is too good not to have a contract. Joey Ryan is money, and where I come from, you don't leave money on the table because somebody else might come by and pick it up.
If that was the promo to get yourself a contract here, if that was the promo to save your life, you're out of your friggin' mind.
Up to you.
I'm stepping up.
No
Listen,
I have no problem.
You can get as tough as you want.
Frighten me. You don't scare me. You're a commentator.
Listen to me.
You're not a suplex machine. You're a commentator.
Listen to me, Joey. Listen carefully to me. What I forgot about this friggin' business, you haven't even learned. No.
You're gonna tell me no.
I told you no.
No.
You're damn right.
You're gonna tell me no.
All right, gentlemen, please.
My life. That is ridiculous.
The answer is no, Joey Ryan.
I'm lucky. You are lucky.
You are done.
Goodbye. I'm lucky.
You're lucky.
I'm lucky. You're out of your mind, kid. Think about what just happened to you here. Think about, you didn't cut the promo of your life. You screwed that up.
You screwed up. You screwed up.
I screwed up.
You screwed up.
You know what? Prove me wrong. No, hold on. Prove me wrong. Go out, keep humping the road, do what you've been doing, come back. When the time is right, prove me wrong, then get it done. Right now, it's no.
And that's when the ideas started coming in about what can we do with this guy and things like that. But at that point, there was no storylines planned at all.
No kidding. So let me now take us. You're backstage. You run into Taz at some point, I imagine.
Yes.
How can you, if you would? What happens? What is that first interaction like? Does he get it that it was all part of TV, or does he take it personal? What happened?
He's kind of a hard ass. He's a prideful person. He's very proud of his wrestling, and I was bad mouthing his wrestling and stuff like that. I mean, he wasn't like, he didn't come, well, you don't want to fight me or anything like that, but he was just like, you punk, you called, you said all this and that. And so there's a little bit of animosity, but.
Was there any talk of you wrestling him instead of Al Snow as that whole storyline unfolded? Was there ever any even talk of that?
No, Taz is pretty injured. I don't think he can do much of anything physically. So I don't think at that point they really knew what they were going to do at all. So they were just kind of rolling with it.
So then you walk back there, and obviously when you walk up the ramp, there's got to be a little, like you had to be on fire. So when you walk through the curtain, is anybody standing there? Are they all standing there? I mean, what's the vibe the minute you walk back there?
Well, I get back there and like there's still cameras on me because I don't know if they're still doing those, but they have these like backstage cameras that like try to get clips and stuff like that. So they were still filming me. So everyone was kind of like back, and then I had an argument with Al Snow in the back after that was. A work shoot? I don't know. I couldn't tell. He was yelling at me. I thought he looked pretty intense. I thought he was really pissed, but I knew cameras were on us too, so I wasn't sure what was going on. And then, so that kind of ends, and they get the footage they need or whatever to show. And then actually Eric Bischoff was the one who approached me because he was really like, oh, that was incredible. Like that was what the segment should have been. That's what live TV should be about. And so, because he's very producer minded, so he was the one who actually. Came up to me and was the most like vocal about what happened.
SmackDown, Bradley Center, myself, Steve Boz, Vic Capri. The only other enhancement talent that night was Ken Anderson.
Okay.
That was there with us. So we get our matches at the beginning of the night, and I remember things were like they were kind of flip-flopped. I think what the matches ended up being was...
Dean Malenko and Perry Saturn. Perry Saturn let me do a bunch of cool moves, let me get all my spots in. Not like a jobber would just get his ass kicked. If that was a true story, I would have got my ass kicked. Probably would have never been welcomed back.
Anyway, so here's what happens. Bottom line. So we're going over matches, right? And because it really doesn't matter because Boz wasn't really going over anything. We get our matches. We were kind of like sitting up in the seats, just kind of chilling for a minute, and we see Eddie Guerrero in the ring. This is Vic Capri and I, and he's like, "Oh, look at Eddie. He's working on the Nagata lock." Like, kind of see Steve in the ring, and I didn't know anything had happened, and then Steve comes up to me and he's like,
"Bunch of us were in the ring, and there was some WWE developmental guys in the ring, and he was just using guys' legs and stuff." And we were going over figure fours, standing figure fours, trying to come up with a variation of a figure four.
Because Eddie Guerrero was such a cool guy that he actually stood up after it was over, let Steve show him how to do a figure four, stood up, shook his hand, and said, "Thanks, brother." And
everyone was laughing at him.
Right.
Not at all. I said, well, there's a standing figure four, there's this figure four. We went over probably 3, 4, 5 different figure fours. He was in the ring for a half hour trying to figure out the move. He was actually super cool. We actually used my legs to do the move.
And I remember Vic and I were just like, what? Like, we just kind of just looked at each other. No big deal, right? Get changed into our gear. And now, because you were right, they were all like the what were they called? The Revolution or whatever. All those guys, like the Benoit and all those guys, they were all out there. So now they start making their way towards the back, because doors are starting to open and stuff. And I'm sitting on, one of those production crates right out in front of the locker room. And all of a sudden, Perry Saturn comes walking by and he goes, "Hey, Dean. Hey, Dean." Dean Malenko. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know where the fuck they find these guys. Some guys out there showing Eddie how to do a fucking figure four. Can you believe this?
If that was a true story, I would have got my ass kicked. Probably would have never been welcomed back.
I remember saying that. And you know what? It mainly was after the show, because Vic and I were like, you know what, we got to say something.
You're a fucking idiot.
And we were like, tried to be as cool as possible about it, and he wasn't having it. He was just like,
I can't picture Vic saying that. Actually, Vic, I don't even think was there that night. I tagged with Jason.
Brother, I'm telling you, I was there.
Here's a story you might like about Jason Rain. We're in the locker room. Back then, everybody got dressed in the same locker room. We're getting dressed next to Stone Cold. Long story short, he's in there crying the blues. Oh, Bonds, we're going to get our ass kicked. Oh, Bonds, we're going to get our ass kicked. I'm trying to whisper through my lips, shut the fuck up.
At the end of it all, it's funny because what happens is we were at CLC, College of
Lake County.
Yeah, in Grays Lake. I go to the bathroom and a fan is in there. And I'm just in there, taking a piss like a regular guy, and I'm in like my regular clothes. This guy says to me, we're both washing our hands together. And he says to me, he goes, "Boy, that's too bad." And I go, "Huh?" And he's like, "That's too bad." I said, "You're talking to me, right?" And he's like, "Yeah." I said, "What's too bad?" He said, "About Steve." I said, "What?" He goes, "He fucked himself. He fucked it all up for himself." I was like, "What are you talking about?" And he says, I know Michael Hayes." And I said, "Really?" And he told me that Eddie Guerrero story. I was like, "What?" I was like, "Oh shit!" Yes.
I'm not going to play he said, she said stuff. I mean, if he believes that, let him believe it. I'm telling you the real story.
Then what happens is the fact that this got so like wildfire, like you said, so far out there, and I was like, "Holy cow!" This, I was like, "Yeah, that's really too bad." And I'm walking out of there, going back to the locker room. Holy shit! I'm like, "What? This is crazy."
Yeah.
I mean, think how asinine the story is. We're going to play he said, she said. I don't want to take any fights.
Now I'm in ECWA. This is after the Super 8. It's me, Scoot Andrews, American Dragon, Kevin Kelly. We're just like sitting in a circle of chairs, right? Just like sitting there, and all of a sudden, there's like a quiet moment, and Kevin Kelly looks at me and he goes, "Yeah, so your friend Steve Boz, that's pretty fucked up." And I was like, "What?" and I look at him and he goes, "Who the fuck tries to teach Eddie Guerrero a figure four?"
How many years later?
This is probably like at least I don't know, maybe a year later.
I would have been blackballed. You know how this business is. You do one bad thing, you don't get a call back, and it's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard of.
Another real quick great Bert story was we did a Toys for Tots show on December 23rd, like 06, and there's just tons of toys. 2,000 people at the fairgrounds to see Dutch Mantella versus, I think, Jamie Dundee. I mean, it was like the main event.
Of course, Jamie Dundee.
Of course, that draws 2,000 people in Tennessee.
Jesus Christ.
It draws 10 people here. But so Bert comes up to me and says, "What kind of rental car are you driving?" I said, "A Ford Taurus." He's like, "Come around the front. I'll be right out. We're going to go for sushi."
Soundbite.
So I pulled a. I'm just thinking like, okay, well, he just wants to go to dinner. So I pull the car up. He comes running out of there. Now, all 350 pounds of him running out there. Jumps in the car. Drive, you bitch, drive. And I'm like, where are we going? To the sushi place. Now, head on. And he's got this metal box. I'm like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "I took the cash box." I said, "It's a charity show. Who cares? They got the toys." And I'm like, "Drive, you bitch." I'm like, "Bert, you seriously stole the United States Marine Corps' Toys for Tots cash box." He goes, "Joey, first of all, these kids wouldn't have no damn toys if I didn't run the damn show. Number one. Number two, I made sure the boys were paid. I just took the excess cash." Yeah. And number three, if you want your sushi paid for, you'll just shut up and drive the damn car.
Oh my God. That's a great story.
Yeah, that's the best story ever.
I mean, and this is the same guy on like a year later, we're doing a benefit show for his brother who had cancer. And I go, "Bert, you don't have a brother. He said you had 10 sisters. I know that, and you know that, but the fans don't know that. I'm trying to set these marks up, and you're just trying to be Mr. Have a conscience."
Jesus.
Now suck my cock.
Yeah. You sound like you were pretty deep with him. You were. He asked you to suck his dick.
Barron's is the same way.
Dude, he never around us.
He's my
child.
I got nothing against Bill. Bill always paid me more than he paid you guys.
Yeah, I thought that was great. He would hand you 5 $1 bills rolled up.
That's Bert's story too. Yeah.
Rolled up like a cigarette, and you would just get like all right, thanks. Like, we're not here for the money.
I got 10.
Yeah, we're here for driving from Illinois, by the way.
No, the one show I remember we got back in the car, and I'm like, how much you guys get paid? And at this point, honestly, I don't remember what it was. It wasn't a lot. I'm not trying to big.
What was great about this spot in Atlanta, you had to drive all the way to Atlanta and then go back north like 30 minutes because there was no direct way to get there. The fucking South, man. Like, ridiculous.